Yeah. So as we discuss about strategic service vision, we realize that as entrepreneurs or as businessmen, as logisticians, we are able to identify a gap or able to see a problem that needs to be solved within the market or a service that we want to provide. If you're able to identify the service, then we need to have a strategic vision that we are going to use to able to solve that problem. So realize that if you're able to identify the problem and then we come up with a solution, we need to know the target market that we want to serve. As a businessman or as an entrepreneur, you can't solve all problems at the same time. Yes, we have numerous problems, but you should be able to have a target, segment the market, and then know the market that you want to serve. That is what we talk about, target market. Then we talk about service concept. Yeah, the concept, the what you want to serve, the kind of service you want to deliver to your customers. Let's say, for instance, you want to embark on educational service, which means you want to offer education to individuals and so on and so forth. So depend on the service that you want to embark on, depend on the problem you want to solve and the solution that you have able to come out with. So we have so many areas that we serve, like the job you identify. It can be that you want to enter into maybe manufacturing. We have so many areas in manufacturing that you can able to serve. You can decide to embark on maybe you want to deal with dresses or manufacture food stuff, manufacture maybe water sachet and so on. We have so many things that we want to do. So it depends on the type of service you want to render. So that one too, we talk about your service concept. And we talk of operational strategies about your marketing, your finances, everything, all what you need to able to provide a service. We have discussed all these things, and then we talk about how you are going to make sure you get the logistics that you need to able to make sure you get the service to the organization, the human resource that you need, the machines, and so on and so forth. You're able to put these logistics together so that you can satisfy your customers. Then how you are going to the channel that you are going to use to able to send these services to your customers. So that one we talk about service delivery systems, the system you put in place, your transport systems, your mode of delivering the system, the service to your customers. So this is what we've discussed so far. So as procurement students, we should be able to understand we provide service. Yes, the job that we are doing, we provide service to the organization. So it depends on organization that you are in and the kind of service that you provide. But our own is to make sure that we are able to deliver the service as expecting from us, so that the institution organization that we are serving can able to deliver the service to ensure that the customers get value for money, and then the management organization will also gain profit. So we are going to talk about today, our main topic is about competitive environment of service. Yes, in the service that we render, definitely no matter where you are, no matter the institution you find yourself, you will have certain barriers that you need to overcome as service provider. Like for instance, there are some certain characteristics in service delivery, and we are saying that relative low overall entry. Service has a low overall entry. Yes, the moment you come out with the innovation, yes, people can copy, people can pick up your innovation and also start providing the same service. So that is what we term as what? Relatively low overall entry barriers. Relatively low overall entry barriers. Like, you cannot have control, you can't patent service. So the moment you come out with the innovation, people are there to pick up. Let's say, for instance, when the telecommunication started springing up, then people started opening communication centers, and you can see within just a small community, you can have a lot of people having these communication centers around. Within a small community, you can have about more than 10 or 15 communication centers. So it tells you that the moment you come out with the idea, then people are quick to copy. So in service delivery, it has no barrier. People enter, people can just come in, copy your business ideas, and they also provide the same service. So as procurement officer, as entrepreneur, as a businessman, you should have a means or strategy that you can able to make sure that you able to sustain the market. You're able to sustain the market. So you have a strategy whereby you need to pick up, either to open more branches or to have a certain strategic decisions whereby you have certain policies that you can use to able to compete your competitors. So that is what we term as what? Low overall entry for barriers. Then we are talking about minimal opportunity for economy of scale. You see, yes, in service there is a minimal opportunity for economy of in service, because now either the service provider will move to the consumer, or the consumer will move to service provider. And in service, basically sometimes it deals with specialization and customization. You see, you deliver the service. Let's say you visit hospital, you have different patients and their problems, so you cannot render the service to about 2 or 3 people at the same time. Is that okay? It's not like you are embarking on production. With the production, the moment you set your systems and you produce in a larger quantity, for that one you can enjoy economy of scale. But with a service, it's not like that. In service, either the service provider will move to the consumer, or the consumer will have to travel to the service facility or provider. So we are saying that the necessity of physical traveling limits the market area, and the results in inability to realize economy of scale. Yes, because always there is this barrier. There's a barrier whereby it becomes difficult for a service to enjoy economy of scale. But before you can able to overcome this, then you need to what? Have a franchise firms. A franchise firms are sometimes they are able to enjoy this economy of scale. Yes, for the franchise firms, they can, since they have franchise as their service. Let's say, for instance, let's say you sell pure water. Yes, and then with the pure water, you go in for maybe Vortic water. You see, they have franchise, they have the name. Is that okay? They have the name, people know it. So that one, if you want to use their logo or lose their packaging systems, then you need to go and register with them. Per that one, yes, a Baltic Water Company can enjoy economy of scale. Yeah, can enjoy economy of scale. Then service also has this erratic sales fluctuation and the environment. You see, when we say erratic sales fluctuation, all that we are talking about here is that in service, sometimes it's not all that people will come for the service. It's not all period. Sometimes the time varies. It varies the period that people will come for your service. Sometimes you have a peak period, sometimes you have a low period whereby your demand will go high, sometimes your demand will come down. Let's say for instance, you have a village, or maybe you have a small town, and then maybe you have a hotel facility, or maybe you have a guest house facility in your small town. Then you see the demand for normal period. It can be that for a month, or maybe within 2-3 weeks, you will not have more than maybe 10 customers coming to use your facility. During that time, then we have it has this erratic sales fluctuations. It's not constant. It's off and on. It's off and on. The people coming in for your service is off and on. But let's say in the situation whereby you are in your town, the community, you normally have a funeral celebration every month. If that's so, then you see the very month or the very week that you'll be having the funeral, definitely you are sure of a lot of people, a lot of demand, people coming for your service. So at that point, you realize that your service will go high. But after the funeral celebration, you realize that the sales will come down. That is what we term as what erratic sales fluctuation. Always your sales is not constant. It moves up and down. It's not something that it continues. So it happens like this, which means your profit always is not as it is. It always fluctuates. So in service delivery, there's this barrier there, because when your service, sometimes certain occasion, the service will move up. In a certain occasion, your service will come down. The demand for your service will come down. And then we are talking about no advantage of size in dealing with buyers or suppliers. Yes, at this point, let's say you are a small business, or you are an institution offering a service to your customers, and looking at the size of the firm, your suppliers take advantage over you because you have a strong bargaining power more than you, or maybe your consumers or your customers have a strong bargaining power more than the organization. Let's say for instance, you have a restaurant whereby you provide services, and let's use a very big institution, and you are fortunate that you have a link there, and somebody have uh, want to give you a contract, maybe to provide them a service, catering service. They are going to have maybe a conference, and then looking at the nature of this company, is a very big company, and you are just a small firm rendering catering services. So when they come to bargain with you with the price of the meal they want to take, because you also need a contract. If you don't accept their price, they will take their contract to somebody. So if it happens like that, definitely maybe you quote maybe a plate of 220 Ghana cedis, and they will come and peg it around maybe 15 Ghana cedis, and you realize that fine, maybe the profit margin that you get may be small. Fine, you can break even, but you may not get any substantial amount of profit from the deal. But because of they having a strong bargaining power more than you, you accept because you need a contract. You need it. Even that contract alone, within maybe a year, might be the biggest contract that you'll be getting. Or sometimes you want a certain raw material, your supply, those that supply the raw materials. Because they are dealing with big companies. They have these companies that are in need of their raw materials, and you are also in the same market. So sometimes the price, if you compare the price they give the raw material to you and the big company they deal with, always your price is over high. Because if they decide not to serve you, you know, if you don't have anywhere to get the materials, or you not have the same competitor willing to serve you. Is that okay? So when it happens like this, it becomes very difficult for these companies to able to stand these service providers. They always have to just go by what their suppliers or consumers are giving them. Then we also talk about product substitutes. As a service provider, there are so many product substitutes or service that our customers can enjoy. So sometimes we are always concerned about our competitors. No, we shouldn't be dwelling so much on our competitors alone. We should also think about substitute services that can also have impact on our service. So that one too is a barrier in service environment. If you want to provide or render, your organization render service to your customers, yes, sometimes you have to make sure that you are able to check the competition among your competitors, and then the same thing, the substitute that they can able to rely on is also another factor. Let's say, for instance, you are into transport business, and maybe taxi, and then truck. They are always in competition. Now, let's say you are a taxi driver, and you are always thinking how you able to compete with the truck drivers. But don't forget that since these are your main competitors, they also have nowadays there's this emerging trend whereby people will join Piagra and so on and so forth. There is also a substitute to your transport system. Is that okay? When you go to Accra, the Okada is there. So if you are a taxi driver and the racing season, maybe people stop, you don't want to mind them. Yes, it's true, it's raining. People want transport. But if it happens, then people will then switch to enjoying this Piagra thing, because we know in a rainy season the drivers become so difficult. They raise their price because of demand for that period. They know people are afraid of being beaten by the rain, and for that matter, you'll be going, nobody in the car, you stop, then the woman they stop, and then they give you a huge sense of a price that you cannot even think of it. But now there's this Piagra system. If you don't pick, Piagra will come. Is that okay? So that's what we are talking about in service provision. You providing services to your customers. You shouldn't be thinking only on your your competitors alone. Think about a substitute. Is also another factor that mitigate against the service that we render. Then we talk about customer loyalty. Customer loyalty is also another factor, is another barrier in service competitive environment. Established firm using a personalized service create a loyal customer base, which becomes a barrier to entry by new service. Yes, so you try to build a customer loyalty in service delivery. That one will let you able to be in the market. So that is one factor that we can use to able to make sure we compete in the service environment. Then we have service competitive strategy. Competitive service strategy, and we will talk about that one in our next slides.